Hello, good evening. This is Tuesday, 8 o'clock live. Like I think I've said a few times before, I'm going to do these every Tuesday, and as much as possible, going to get a guest to join. And we are joined by Natalie, Swimmers by the Sea. So I'm going to invite her along. So bear with me 1 second. So I'm going to see if I can request to join. Here we go. So invite Natalie. Hopefully it's going to work. Didn't work last week, but we'll see what happens.
Hello.
I'm always so amazed when it works. I'm like, oh my God, it works.
Like, where am I going to come up on the screen? Am I going to be down there, up there? I wasn't sure what was going on.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. My daughter's currently upstairs losing her mind. So if you can hear that in the background, I'm really sorry.
How old is she?
5.
Oh, really? What is she kicking off?
My husband's there. So she's got, she's good. She's good.
I was trying to set this thing up, and it's my turn because we take it in turns to do bedtime, and it's my turn tonight. And I said to my husband, I think you're going to have to do Tuesdays instead, because I just wanted to get everything set up. Hi, Miss Dora. And my husband's like, right, I'll do it tonight, and stormed upstairs. And I think I just mentioned to you earlier that my eldest was at the hospital walk-in earlier this evening, so the youngest was there. Honestly, the youngest was there yesterday, and he was there tonight, and I jinxed it by saying today, oh, at least everybody's like healthy and made it to school and work in one piece, blah blah blah. Forgot there was like another 16 hours of the day. But anyway,
yeah.
So
you got in, you got out. It's all good. I'm just
exactly. Everything's fine.
But you're balancing. I'm just trying to balance my camera as best I can. Hang on.
Hi guys, thanks everyone for joining. Just trying to say hi and wave to everybody. So I thought it'd be a really good idea to do a live once a week, just because it's a really nice way of getting to know other consultants in the community.
Absolutely.
And it's always about supporting each other and doing what we can, and also it's really nice to get different people's perspectives, and just like their journey in general, and kind of, you know, what's motivated them and whatnot. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions.
Exciting. Feels like I'm
So welcome to my sofa.
Love it. I've got my cuppa, so I'm ready.
Oh, me too. Yeah, me too. So I guess what the first question is, what made you decide to do the one-to-one diet above any of the other diets that are out there at the moment?
What made me do the one-to-one diet? So I am coming up 38. I would say I have struggled with my weight probably as far back as I can remember being, memories being a child. I think it's always been something that I've struggled with. I've tried every diet, so this isn't the only diet I've ever done. And I think for me, it just got to the point where I'm a little bit impatient, and I'm not great with weight loss. I suffered with polycystic ovaries pre-having my children. I've got 2 children, and so weight loss for me has never been something that has been easy. And like my mum or my husband would be like, oh my God, you don't eat a huge amount of food, but yet you really struggle. I probably eat the wrong things, but I wouldn't eat I wasn't somebody that would eat massive volumes of food, but I would really struggle to lose weight. And then I tried the one-to-one diet a few years ago with a local lady. Just didn't really gel with her. She wasn't like, I just needed someone that was like me, and she wasn't. So I tried and failed basically in about 2 weeks, and I don't think I was in the right zone in my head. Then COVID hit, and I had this mad panic that I was 4 stone overweight. I've got 2 kids.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons I went back to this, is because I thought actually I just needed that structure. I needed something really telling me you can eat this, this, and this at these times of day, and that's it. because if you gave me an inch, I would take it. So I needed that structure, and I wanted to see, I was in that place where I was like, I was ready to do it, but I wanted to do it and see the results. I didn't want to be on this 2-year-long journey. I wanted to see results. And so I kind of got my head down and did 4 stone in 4.5 months.
Which is amazing. And it just goes to show that when we say, you know, which is one of the most common questions that we get as a consultant, is how long would it take me? And typically, if you stick to the step, most likely, you know, step 1B or step 1A, 1B, 1 and 2, you can do a stone a month. You know, it's not impossible. And in fact, if you stick to plan, you're proof. You know, you did 4 stone in 4.5 months. That just goes to show that with the motivation. And I think that's it, because like when we do these kind of diets, because they are really hard, because it is a hard diet,
really hard,
about it, but the results are so motivating that it's worth it.
That's what spurs you on.
I saw go on.
Sorry, I was just going to say, I think for me, I needed to see that week on week. I needed to see that my efforts and the stuff I felt like I did step 2, so I never did sole source. I always wanted to be able to sit and have dinner with my kids. That was my thing. I was like, I need to be able to sit and have like a chicken salad or whatever it is, and my children are not going to look and think, oh, what's mummy doing, because they're young and aware. So I always did step 2. I've never done sole source. I've tried it just since becoming a consultant. I've tried it just to play with it and feel how that feels, so I can support other people. But I lost my weight on step 2. But I needed to see those results. For the effort get made, I needed to see the results with it as well. And you do have the weeks where it's either a maintain or a lot slower, but then it comes along again and catches up. And I needed to see that. That was what really pushed me along. So that's why I chose 1-to-1, because I wanted something structured and I wanted something quicker.
Yeah, I think that's it, isn't it? It's kind of like, you know, the effort in has got to be rewarded. And if you're going to put that amount of effort in, I read that I was on one of the weight loss groups, and someone had written that they had been on, started their journey not on the 1-to-1 diet, and you know, in their first week they were really happy because they'd lost 1.5 pounds. And I'm like, oh wow. You know, some people might be fine with that, but that's not why we join the 1-to-1 diet, especially in our first week. You know, there's kind of like, if you've lost only 1.5 pounds in your first week, then something isn't quite right. You do expect to have a much bigger weight loss in that first week. And I think that's why it's so motivating. So when you lost the weight on the step 2, did you then move up the plan and do the different steps?
Yeah, so what I did is I moved up to step 3. So I lost the weight sort of like April to August, September. Then I moved up to step 3. And then probably what I would say I did is I tried step 3 for a few weeks. But what really suits me is I quite enjoy step 2. I'm quite happy if I can have weekends having what I want. So I kind of found this rhythm of how to maintain through kind of playing with it, really, having a bit of step 3. But also I'm quite happy to do step 2 days if I can then have a glass of wine at the weekends and a few bits of what I want. And then I also, I mean, I've always walked my dog. I've never been an exerciser, but I've always walked my dog. But I found kind of through my maintenance that I've just been going a bit further, just really kind of keeping an eye on that, because you know, you can't just think, oh, I've lost the weight and that's it now, it's gone. It's something that I'm always having to think about all the time, because if I, you know, walk past a fish and chip shop, I can put 2 pounds on. I've got that. That's my metabolism. So I have to be very aware of what I eat still now. But what I like to do is have stricter days and then days where I can have a bit more of what I want. I
think that's it though, isn't it? Because like, you know, I think with any diet, it doesn't matter whether you're on this one or any other diet, if you're in the belief that I'm going to lose the weight that I want to lose and then go back to old habits, you are going to put the weight on. It's absolute matter of fact, because you know, you've through losing the weight, and especially on the 1-to-1 diet, when you're on you know, majority of products and then moving up into conventional food, you have that kind of like, it just forces you into that education of going, right, okay, I am now, because when you move up the steps, the responsibility is more on you as a slimmer to kind of like make sure that you're prepping and planning and all the weighing and all the frequency, following the traffic light system. Because if you don't do that, then all you are doing is winging it.
Yeah,
and winging it is just going to get you back to square one more than you can say pizza, because
absolutely.
that's the thing. You've got to be able to, it is a lifestyle. And everyone says, oh, I don't want a quick fix. It's only a quick fix if you don't follow the steps through them. You have to stick to the full program in its entirety. Otherwise, all it will become is a yo-yo diet to you, because you're not following. And like, you know, we're all guilty of it, getting to our goal weight and we're thinking, yay, you know, I don't need to worry about much. But actually, it's harder to maintain the weight
yeah,
than
absolutely.
lose it.
Yeah, and I think what I did was, whilst I was on plan, I was on step 2. I followed step 2 to the letter. I weighed, I measured, I thought, I'm doing it properly. But then what I realized was there were certain things moving forward and moving into maintenance that I could live without. For example, if I went to the pub with my husband for dinner, I would happily, after spending 4.5 months on step 2, you kind of strip your diet bare of the stuff that, you know, you were eating before. I realized what I missed and what I could go without. And actually, I didn't really need a steak and garlic bread and chips and wine. I'm quite happy to have a steak and salad and a glass of wine, because I've realized the things I really missed and the things I'm not bothered about anymore. But I think that was all an education for me, realizing how well and how good I feel on such a low calorie diet. It makes me feel really good. I don't particularly, carbs don't gel with me particularly. So actually, it really educated me moving forward about what I could pick and choose in order to be able to maintain, because there were certain things I thought, actually, I don't need to go back to eating that. What does that bring to me? It's not something I need. Sometimes it would be just eating it for the sake of eating it before.
And so also because we've always done it, haven't we?
Yeah.
Like we've kind of like, and that's the thing. It's like, I always say to my simmers, it's about making smart choices. You know, you're all adults, you're all capable of making these decisions, but you have to think about, what do you want? What are you trying to achieve? Is, you know, and it is about that compromise. Yes, go out for dinner with your friends, family, whatever, but choose carefully what you want. You don't need, you know, the, you know, garlic bread with cheese followed by spaghetti carbonara and then like a toffee pudding.
Which would have been my staple diet like that would have been my go-to. And I think it's only kind of stripping it back, almost like one of the girls on here, I think it's Kate, she says it's almost like a reset. When she did plan, she just felt like she hit the factory reset button on her body and just kind of reset herself. And I really took a lot from that, because I thought that's so true. You can be on plan, eat very low calorie, feel really good. You don't then need to go back to that, you know, what it was before. So yeah, lost my weight in 2020, and within half a stone have tried to, you know, with maintenance, I've really been keeping an eye on it. It's not like if I come off the rails and I have a summer where I think, oh, you know, I really then, you know, have to kind of, it's something that is always there. But it's not there how it was when I was 4 stone heavier. It doesn't consume me anymore like it used to.
And I think that when you know, when it's about pride as well, I think, because when you have lost that weight, it's such a proud feeling. And there's so much recognition, like from ourselves, from our friends, from our family. And it's almost kind of like, I don't want to sabotage all of that work. You know, I don't want to, like, you know, make those go back, because we all know that, you know, those bad choices and those bad habits that we were making in the past got us to the point where we needed to make a call and get on board with the consultant, and we definitely don't want to get back to there. And I use your analogy, the orange juice and water video, a lot.
That day.
So I've got a similar analogy. So, you know, I always say to my simmers that, you know, we are human and there are going to be days that you are going to go off plan, or, you know, even a meal, like you said, with a packet of crisps, you just think, right, okay, if you know, your day is, you know, given an example by clear water, and then you have a packet of crisps and you dilute a bit of orange juice in it, then it goes a bit all cloudy. Then you're faced with this situation, aren't you? It's kind of like, oh, Mikey, well, I've diluted my clear, pure day. What do? Do I just think sod it and carry on adding more orange juice and making it even darker and darker and darker? Or do I think, well, you know, I'm just going to add more water to it? Yes, it's not exactly what it was when I was completely on plan, but it looks a hell of a lot better.
It could be.
Yeah, and it's just so bad. So my analogy, mine's not as pretty as yours, but I always say to my clients, you know, if you have a puncture in your car, do you go and slash the other 3 tires? No, you don't. You know, you fix your puncture, you get on, yeah, and you move on. And that's the same kind of thing. It's like, you know, even when we do have slip ups, or, you know, we come off plan or whatever, it's how you react to that. It's kind
Yeah.
of like, you know, you've got to own it. You
Yeah.
can't, you know, you can't change it.
No.
You can't change what you did, but what you can do is change how you react to it.
And I think there's so much kind of self-criticism and when you've been overweight and you've kind of criticized and, you know, really talked down to yourself a lot, that is a really easy habit to get back into. And it's definitely something, my kind of analogy was showing it in the glasses, was to kind of visually show people what goes on in here, because in my brain it's like that bashing, like that going back to that kind of girl that was 4 stone heavier, that used to just bash herself all the time. And that is about, if you know, and I think there's, yes, the plan, I needed that structure when I was on plan, but the thing that structure also does is, if you then kind of come away and you do have a slip, it can make you kind of bash yourself and be really critical and negative. And I was trying to show people that that's the bit, because that then just makes you in a negative spin cycle, and then you kind of are a day off plan, then 2 days off plan, and then before you know it, you are unraveling all your good work. And it was trying to visually show people that you don't need to do that. You can just kind of pull back. That I still have to tell myself that all the time, because it is, I think once you've, you know, I'm coming up 38, I've had over 30 years of feeling crap about myself, or, you know, I lost weight last year, but it's that kind of, oh my god, no, not even last year, we're in 2022, aren't we now? But you know what I mean.
I didn't even correct you, because I have no idea what year I'm in.
But it's not a quick fix. If you've been overweight a long time, then it is ingrained negative self-talk that you have to get out of. And I think that's not something that happens overnight. It's something that you have to really work on. It's not just losing the weight, but it's your mindset. It's that shift of being a bit nicer to yourself, and, you know, just kind of focusing on that, because that then helps you keep the weight off, because you're being a bit nicer to yourself. If you had a weekend off plan, or a bad weekend, it's just not being so negative with yourself, which I think I lived in quite a negative place for quite a while. So yeah, the glass thing is so visual, but it was just me showing what goes on up here when I had a slip. Yeah.
So what do you say? So when you have consultations with your newbies, kind of how do you get them to reinforce their why? Kind of, is there any kind of conversations that you have with them? Because obviously, like, you know, you touched on it earlier about losing weight isn't about eating a product hoping for the best. It's kind of like really, really investing mentally and going, right, okay, you know, there's a line in the sand. This is not happening anymore. I'm not happy with the way I am. I need to do something about it. So how do you motivate your clients to kind of like dedicate and commit to on plan?
I think I often talk with all ladies and men that I've had on plan about why they are doing it, because for everybody it's different. So for, you know, as I say, for me, it was COVID hitting that really did something to me. It was like, oh my gosh, I'm 4 stone overweight,
right?
High BMI. My weight had always affected me and my headspace, and me feeling sad and annoyed and pissed off. My weight, never in my wildest dreams did I think my weight might affect my health and have a knock-on effect to my kids. It just, that something there. So I talk to people a little bit about that if they ask me. And, you know, for everyone, their why is different. I've got a lady that's just started on plan, lovely lady, and she's moving to the Caribbean at the end of this year. So she's got this massive why around moving, and, you know, so, and I kind of have lots of conversations with people about that. But I also say to people, if you're going to do it, like, you can faff about, people do, you know, on plan, off plan, but actually the plan works 100% in, 100% results. And I say to people, do it, just get your head down, because it's almost, once you've done that first hard week, if you then cheat, you make it harder for yourself. And that's what I say to people, like, hand on my heart, the more you're on the wagon and on plan, the easier it gets and the quicker. And that's kind of, I have that conversation with people about, make your life easy for you, because the more you're on plan, the easier it becomes. It's that habit that you form.
It's so hard, like, you know, I get I've been really good during the day, but I've had a glass of wine tonight. I'm like, oh man, you have just undone all of your good work, you know, in one or two glasses of wine. And there's no point kind of like pussyfooting around it. It's kind of like, you know, the reason why they want the one-to-one support is because they need to be honesty, and there needs to be someone who is going to go, actually, no, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Because if you think you want to do it, then you're not going to get the support that you need to help, you know, get you through what is going to be a tough time on plan.
Yeah.
You need someone who's going to kind of like stand up to you and kind of say and challenge you and say, you know, you can do what you want, but you're not going to get the results that you think that you
Absolutely.
want if you
Yeah.
carry on, you know, thinking you're treating yourself with a glass of wine. And you know, it takes so much effort. There was a guy who a consultant, I believe he's passed on now. I can't remember his name. It's going to come back to me. But basically, he was talking about Pandora's box and your appetite. So he suppressed his appetite, squished up the bottle. It was an empty bottle. He squished it up and he put it in a box. And he used to say, don't open the box, right?
Yeah.
So everything about you
Really good
and
way to
plan is
describe
in the
it.
box.
Yeah.
If you open up the box, it is going to take so much effort for you to get yourself back in the box. Lawrence, that's it. Thank you so much. Thank you. It is Lawrence. And so, yeah, he's got videos on YouTube. And he's so true, because it said it took him, he was at a family event and he was in the zone, he was on plan, he was absolutely bossing it. And then he went to a family event and it said it took him 10 days because he completely, you know, indulged.
Yeah.
And then it took him 10 days to get back in the box. And the amount of effort he said that it took him, he said he should have just stayed on plan, because with all that energy and that effort, he said he would have been much further down the line. And that's the thing, it's like, it's got to be a compromise, it's got to be a sacrifice, because we can't have what we always want. And if we carry on doing the same things, then we're just going to get the same results. So there has to be that challenge and that change. You know, well, I want it, but actually that's not going to get me from where I need to be.
Yeah, exactly. I talk to people about the 4-day kind of fat burning thing. So I'll say to people, like, hypothetically, you start on a Monday, by Thursday you're fat burning. If you come off plan Friday,
you've got to do it all
you're
again.
you're back to Monday. And I have those, I kind of count through with people, because I think it's that kind of psychology of kind of treating yourself, and actually, I say to people, when I started on plan, there was a lady called Debbie, she's absolutely wonderful. She said to me, say you'll have it tomorrow. So like, if you want a glass of wine on a Friday, say, I really fancy a glass of wine, I'll have it tomorrow. And then she said, because tomorrow never comes and the next day it's gone. But it's that kind of, sometimes just by saying to yourself, oh, it's fine, I'll have it tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes and you don't have that same need, because you've kind of worked through that thing in your head that wanted it. Because it's often it's the habit, it's the association with it being the weekend, it's all those associations.
Having something to do, isn't it?
It's weekend. So, you know, and I say to a lot of my slimmers, like, those habits, you've made them for yourself. You've made weekend takeaway habits, you've made, you know, Fridays in the pub. They're all things you've made so you can unravel them. But it doesn't come easy, and it is something that, I love that Pandora's box analogy. That is something I'm going to say to people.
Honestly, oh, I wish I knew your full name. Aura CV. So stay in your lane, he would say. He's got some amazing videos, really motivational. Like I said, he's no longer with us, but his videos are still around, and I know that they are shared and they are used, because they are so inspiring. And they really, that analogy has always stuck with me. Just the credit, Don't open the box.
And I think that's the thing with me sharing the thing with the liquids. It's quite simple, but sometimes it's all those feelings that you're feeling. But it's actually putting it into like a visual representation or some way, so that you can explain to people, this is what will happen if that idea of putting it in the box and putting the lid down, I can see it in my head, and then I think that's really, you know, people can relate to that, can't they?
So that's why I love the car one, because I'm like, you know, who in their right mind, you know, would just go and slash the other 3 tires because they've got you know, it's just I love it, and it's really powerful. And I think that, like you said, like the visual things, like I know that I'm a real visual learner, so the way that I pick up things is very visual. I'm not very good at listening, but I'll pick up visual tips. So if I can like remember things like that, it will help spur me. So now that you've been maintaining, What made you decide to become a consultant?
What made me? I think there's a couple of reasons. Number one, I only work part-time, so I had the time, and I lost my weight during the pandemic. So I was working from home. The training to become a consultant was online. So that was a massive, for me, I didn't have to go and spend a day and get on a train and be anywhere. I literally could log on to Zoom and sit and learn to be a consultant. So that for me, I think the other thing, and it's a little bit selfish, is I thought it would help me stay with my maintenance.
Yeah, but okay, so how many?
And it has.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think, well, there's an added bonus with that as well. It's like, you know, obviously when you're a consultant and you're still on plan, you get to buy their products at wholesale, which is also, you know, a really good, you know.
I've lost my weight. So I think I lost my weight sort of April to August. I did the training in the May, June with no intention at all of being a consultant. I was just like, I'm going to do the training. It's online. I had Friday where I could log on and do it. We're seeing lots.
So you just started plan. So you started in April, and then you did your training
beginning
in
of April, end of May, beginning of June. I did the training, but then I didn't do anything with it. I sat on it then for a couple of months, and then I bought confidence.
Because there's a lot of conversations that I have with slimmers of mine who will say, yeah, I'm possibly interested, but I want to get to goal, or I want to get nearer to goal.
Mine was around, not so much around goal, but around me feeling that I had done the plan, understood the plan, and then was the evidence that the plan worked to be able to say to people, this is what I've done, and look. And I had, when I finally got the courage to kind of put myself out there, I had my mum came on plan because she wanted to lose 10 pounds. And then, family members started approaching me. But then locally, there was this kind of, because I think I'd always been known as, Natalie, bubbly, but I was always bigger. Right. And so for people to see me, a size, a small 12 when I'd been 16, 18.
Yeah.
I think people saying to, I went back
You're on walking proof.
Yeah. And that kind of really, it was my confidence, and still to this day, I'm maintaining, and I'm not hugely chatty on Instagram. It's a confidence thing. It is really my stuff. I'm much happier in my little room.
When I asked you to do the live with me, you were like, oh my God.
Yeah, it's confidence. But then I kind of gradually built up with people I knew. I didn't have an Instagram page. I just really gradually did it. It wasn't something that happened quickly. It was kind of a slow, did the training and then held back. And then, I wanted to do it to help. And I like helping other people because I know how good I've felt. So I think it's that kind of, sharing that with people. Yeah.
Because that's the thing. I think for me that is probably the most surprising part about it, because I when I became a consultant, I knew that I'd be helping people, and I knew that I would be helping them lose weight, but I really underestimated how important it was for people to lose their weight, because it wasn't, when people talk about diets, they think, oh, it's just because, size 8 glossy magazine, and they just think skinny model. You just think lose weight, skinny model. And actually, there are so few. In fact, I don't think I've got anybody on plan with me that is because they just want to be a size smaller. It's because of, for health reasons, or, just even like motivating things. Like, one of my simmers went on a flight and she didn't need to ask for an extension seatbelt, which is not something she'd been able to do for quite some while. Other one whose diabetic medication has been reduced because, their insulin is under control, which is amazing. I've got another simmer who, hadn't been able to wear her wedding rings for a few years, and for her 25th wedding anniversary party was able to put them back on. So all these small things which, like even just like wearing like an old pair of jeans, which is, you've kind of like, they've been like the thing that has been like haunting you in the back of your cupboard, and you just like, they're there, and you just think, well, one day I'm going to get there. And this diet is sometimes people's last hope in a way.
Yeah. I've had ladies come to me say it's this or surgery. It's this or weight
Yes.
surgery. And I've said, whoa,
Yeah.
let's really commit to this for 6 months. And you know, I've had people, like you say, changing their medication, not going forward to need to have surgery. And it's all that stuff, you know, it's like you say, the jeans thing. Jeans and a t-shirt for me 4 stone ago was just, I would look at my friends, and a lot of my friends are very small, and jeans and a t-shirt, it just wouldn't have entered my head.
Yeah.
And it's that, and that's that weight on your shoulders of like, oh, and I've seen, you know, it's all that stuff about just kind of, it's so much more than just weight loss. It's that, for me, it was mental kind of lift, that mental lift of that burden of that kind of self-bashing myself, and you know, it affecting my happiness in other ways. And I think you kind of, you don't, you underestimate sometimes as a consultant how much you are supporting and helping with people's whole, the knock-on effect it has to confidence and maybe going for a new job or just all sorts of stuff. It just has that like knock-on effect for people, and it's amazing. It's really, it is quite. I've got one lady, she's an older lady, and her daughter's my friend, and she'd said, oh God, you know, when I go to work, I just walk around so much easier. I don't feel all stiff and achy. And I was like, just, you know, on so many levels, it's positive.
It's just, I think that's it, isn't it? It's just kind of feeling like that you are supporting someone. Because I know that for me in my mid-40s, I think that like when you're in your 20s and your 30s, you know, you're just, you know, getting on with life, and it's like, you know, like very little commitment, quite selfish, and you can kind of like, you know, if you haven't got a family at that stage, you know, you're kind of like, you know, young, free and single to a certain extent, kind of not really worrying about weight maybe. Then you get into your late 20s, 30s, whatever, and you start having kids, and you're so consumed by keeping these things alive, you know, things that come into your life, and you're just like, oh my God, I don't know what to do with this. And you're just on autopilot, and everything is just fuzzy. And then all of a sudden, you know, you wake up and you're in your mid-40s, and you're like, oh my God, is this it? Like this is, and it's kind of like no man's land of, you know, out of your youth, not quite retired, not really, you know, it's not empty nesters yet, you know, you haven't got your retirement fund, so you're just kind of like this mum, chauffeur, cook, you know, kind of lost your identity, you know, you're just mum to, you know, and just like, oh, this, like, I know that I am a mum, but surely there's more to it. Like I don't want to feel mumsy. Like I don't want to feel like I'm just going to go into that next part of my life feeling a bit mumsy, a bit frumpy, and just kind of like feel like I've got to, like, you know, I want to shop in like trendy stores. I still want to go to Zara, and I still want to go to, like, you know, Mango, and I still want to, like, you know, I know I can't, you know, rock the miniskirt anymore, but I still want to feel young at heart, and I want my physical self and my attitude to represent me being young and fun. And
I think, you know, what you're saying about that, the mum bit, is the other thing that kind of drew, obviously I've lost the weight with the diet, so I knew the diet worked, but the other thing that drew me to the consulting was the fact that it fitted around that mumsy stuff, and it like, I can see Slimmers clients whenever I want. I can work online, I can work from home, so I have got my job and I still work, and I get a lot of questions from people. I actually had, when I put on the thing earlier about any questions for this, I had a message from a girl called Jenny just saying, can you do the one-to-one diet alongside another job? And yeah, you can, because you can fit it in around your life. And I work 2 full days. I go out to work, and I, you know, I've got a job that I go and do. But this, you know, this I'm really passionate about, but also it's, you know, you can fit this around the mum stuff, and that kind of being in that space in your life where you're in control of your working hours, you're in control of what time you work, when you work, who you see, what you do. It's your little business within this other kind of supportive company. But that was the other thing. It was kind of me thinking selfishly, oh, it'll probably help me with my maintenance, and I can do it because the training's online, but it can be as big or as small as I want to make it ultimately. And that was another thing that I kind of thought, okay, I can play with this. It's not something I need to kind of go all in if I don't want to. I can kind of you know,
Yeah.
do it to
And
suit
that's
me.
it. Like, you know, because I was exactly the same as you. You know, when I first became a consultant, like May 2019, I was doing a 30-hour week job.
Yeah.
And I was, you know, in an office, and I was commuting every hour, you know, every day there and back an hour. And you know, the one-to-one was ticking along nicely. I was getting a nice little kind of like money on the side.
Yeah.
Then COVID and furloughed and all that stuff, and I was just like, oh crikey. And I was just like, you know what, and then the more when the kids last year, when they were doing that whole nightmare homeschooling between January and March,
Yeah.
try not to go back to that place because it was very dark. But you know, when I
So
was
stressful.
doing that, hell, wasn't it? But when the kids went back in March, I was still furloughed. So I was like, okay, well, I was furloughed until June. So I really ramped up the diet because the kids were at school.
Yeah.
I had all this time during the day, and I thought, I'm going to make a go of this, because by that point I could see the business growing. And I thought, hang on a minute, I'm working from home. I'm able to collect the kids from school. They're not in after school club. You know, I'm enjoying, because they've been in after school clubs, they've been at childminders since they were 9 months old, and I've never been able to pick them up from school before. And I was like, this is really good. I think I really enjoy this. So I work really hard to build up the business, and I do work hard, and you have to work hard if you want to get those kind of results. And then I quit that office job in June last year. I just thought, you know what, I'm going to do it. And I did it, and I was like, oh my God. But then like the other part of me, so I've got like the do it on one side, and I've got that are you mad on the other side. And I was like, oh my God, what do I do? So I thought, okay, well, what I'll do is I'll transition. So I was in this like 30-hour week, you know, paid job, and I thought, I'm going to leave that job, and I'm going to get a little local part-time job where I can just kind of like know that I've got a little bit of income, come what may, at the end of the month, whilst I build it up. Yeah, like a buffer. So build up my diet business. I thought, right. And I started at the end of June, and I thought it's my little part-time job, still able to pick up the boys, but I'm still working here really hard. And I just thought, do you know what? The last few weeks, it started to feel a bit of a struggle. And I felt like I was still working 2 really busy jobs. I couldn't really commit to one, and I wanted to really grow the business, the one-to-one. So I resigned today.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, I didn't know that. How exciting.
I know.
That's so exciting. So you've gone from a 30-hour a week job down to having that buffer now to going completely one-to-one in the space of like 2 years.
6 months. Yeah. So I've got 2 weeks notice, and then I am one-to-one, all in.
And,
you
know, it is sometimes that bite in the bullet. I think my day job or my other job is term time, and I think if it wasn't, I possibly would have taken that jump. But because I'm term time, I've got that luxury that in the summer I have 6 weeks off. And I get that. So for me, it is very much, and kind of at busy times of year, like I get 2 weeks off at Easter, I've got 2 weeks off. So it's that term time thing that is probably, you know, it's there, but actually that gives me so much time. When people are like, I need to lose weight, it's the summer, boom, I've got 6 weeks off work. It links hand in hand really well. And I think it is, it's just being able to kind of do it alongside something else if you want to, going for it and kind of thinking, no, do you know what? I know Gemma, my consultant, she said that she started the one-to-one as soon as she matched her salary from one-to-one. That's when she went with her job.
So that's, I think, what I did, and I still got scared. Like, and to be perfectly honest, my 30-hour week job that I got paid every 4 weeks, I'd already earned that 2 weeks by doing the one-to-one. So I had more, I was doubling my salary, but I was still scared because, like, you know, I was thinking, oh my gosh, like this is not me. Like, you know, I do not take risks. But actually it wasn't even a risk, because I could see the numbers, and I could see that the amount of effort that I was putting in, I was getting rewarded. And now that means I can spend more time with my simmers, more time with my team. And I just feel like, you know,
how's that going, Jo? How's that going with your team? Have you kind of, are your team local, or have you got a team all around the country? How does that look?
So because I've got so I'm originally from London. So pre-COVID, obviously we could only see people in our local
In our
area.
area,
And then
yeah.
because of COVID, the head office then will enable us to, you know, do remote face-to-face,
Yeah.
sorry, remote consultation. And I had so many of my friends and family in London who were like, oh my God, we can now come with you because we wanted
Yeah.
to do it. We wanted to come with you and not someone we didn't know. So I've got, not only have I got slimmers in up and down the country, I've now got slimmers consultants in North Wales. I've got in Cornwall. I've got a couple in London. I've got one in Manchester. I've got, you know, 2 down the road from me. So it's a really nice mix of, you know, yeah, and I just got a new simmer that is in Edinburgh, you know, and I'm in Bristol. So it just shows I'm actually not far from you, really. So it doesn't really matter. There are always going to be some slimmers who want that face to face, and that's absolutely fine. If you can find a consultant that you can connect with and you want that face to face, then go and search for that consultant. But then on the flip side, I had an interesting conversation with someone who phoned me up yesterday. She said, oh, she goes, I've had a couple of not great experiences with local consultants. And I was like, oh, okay, that's really interesting. She goes, oh, do you deliver? And I said, well, I do deliver, but it'll be via courier, because she was from Northwest London and I'm in Bristol. And I said, maybe it's worth considering. It's more about who you gel with rather than where they're based, because there's nothing to suggest that you can't be accountable and you can't have a rapport with someone over FaceTime.
Absolutely.
Because even though if they're next door and you're not gelling with them and you've been let down, then that's kind of giving me, you know, saying, well, maybe you need to consider other options.
And I think, you know, with social media and stuff, you can kind of search out someone who's like you. Like I wanted, when I was looking for a consultant, I wanted someone that had small children, that understood my, you know, morning toast hell, because let's face it, making my kids toast in the morning, I still find really
one for you, one for me, one for you.
I needed to see someone that had maintained. I needed to see the weight that they'd lost, and I needed to see that it was, for me, it was about, I don't want to continue to spend my life on a diet, off a diet, on a diet, off a diet. I wanted to commit to losing the weight and then be able to keep it off, and, you know, within half a stone, have that, you know, I didn't want to be this person that went up and down. I wasn't planning on any more children. I was married. I didn't have these big things that were, you know, going to affect my weight. And I needed to see that. So I think, you know, with social media, you can now find someone, can't you, that you feel that is like-minded, or you've got similar interests or similar goals. And find that person online. And then, you know, it's incredible now that we can work. I'd lost my weight, and I didn't meet Gemma, my consultant, until convention in 2021.
Which Gemma was that one?
Rennick.
Oh, was it Gemma Rennick? Oh,
and
amazing.
I lost my weight April to August 2020, and I'd never met her, but I felt like I knew her. We spoke like, you know, FaceTimed every week, touch base all the time on text message, and it just really works. It's not, you know, and a lot of my slimmers now that even are local come in and see me, they pick up their products, but quite often they weigh in virtually in the morning, because they like to get up and get on the scales, you know, once a week in the morning.
After a wee.
And that's, you know, that's it just is so flexible. It's brilliant. I love it.
So what is the plans for you in terms of, you know, are you growing a business, or are you happy? What's your situation?
So I've got my job, so I work 2 days a week, but outside of that, I've got a small team. So one in Edinburgh. My dad's from Edinburgh, so I've got family up there. And then Exeter, kind of local, a bit more local to me. So, and I think it's kind of, I'm not someone that I'm kind of just gradually just trying to, I think, again, it's a bit about my confidence and kind of putting myself out there and trying to, you know, doing this tonight, I was a bit like, oh, Christ.
It's not that bad, is it?
No, it's good. I just feel like I'm talking to you, so it's fine. And it is, for me, it's just that kind of, I'm probably more of like, not is it a slow burner? I'm kind of just ticking along, and then I keep a nice little amount of slimmers, so I kind of always have, you know, around a similar number that I feel like I can manage, because that's the other thing, it's wanting to see people and be able to give them my time.
Quality.
And I'd rather have 20 slimmers on plan losing, getting their products each week and really
Yeah.
getting to their goals than
Yeah.
200 and not being able to support. So and that's, for me, it's kind of alongside my job, and I've got a 5-year-old and an 8-year-old, so it's life, isn't it? It's trying to juggle that. So
yeah.
but
Our
yeah,
kids are exactly the same age, by the way.
are they 5 and 8?
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
Soon to be 9. He's 9 on Valentine's Day, and he's up here. He's so tall. He's like up to my chin. Yeah. But yeah, so I kind of I see things progressing, but I like the fact that I'm in control, I suppose, of that, and I can kind of, just I speak to my cousin who's she's my she lost 3.5 stone with me, and she now is doing consulting in Edinburgh, and we have a lot of conversations about that, just kind of gently moving things along at the pace that you want to, because I know I can kind of hit the accelerator when I've got a bit of extra time and then pull back when I haven't, and that's what I really like about it.
Yeah, and that's it, isn't it? It's kind of like, we're all self-employed, so how we run the business is totally down to how, what we want to get out of it. It's kind of like, well, if you're doing it alongside another job and, you want to see only 5 clients a week, then that's absolutely fine. There's nothing to stop you from doing that. And, maybe you're a student who wants to, kind of, decrease their student debt, or, maybe you want to add to your retirement fund, or, maybe it's just a little bit, whatever reason it is, it's kind of like, it's there. It's there for the taking, in the sense of, like when Babette did, I joined the business opportunity meeting last night. Yeah, I always like to have a bit of a nose. And she always says, it's not a get quick rich scheme, which it isn't. But, if you put the effort in, and if you put the time in, you can make it, as big or as small as you want to. And that's what's nice about it. There is no pressure. There's no targets that you have to hit from head office unless you want to hit them. I
mean, I hit Guiding Star in 4 months. So once I started consulting.
Did you get a present or a reward? What do you get for hitting Rising Star?
So you get free products, you get boxes of products, which I then I didn't sell my free products on. I used my products for all my incentives at the time. So like, let's do a month challenge, you'll win a free week. Right. So I used my products to help my business. And then because of COVID, we couldn't, it was like a night away, which they then postponed. And then last year when they did it, I couldn't go anyway.
Oh no!
Because I was already away. Of all the weeks and all the months that I've not been away and been anywhere, it landed when I was in Gran Canaria. But so you get away, but incentives if you want them. But I just kind of, I didn't even really. I just naturally hit them because I had this kind of influx of people that wanted to lose weight, and it just happened quite quickly. But yeah, there was no pressure, and that's what I really like about this. If I want to say to myself, I'm going to see no slimmers for the summer because I'm going away, that's my choice, and that's what I love about it. I love that I can just work it around my family and around the kids, and it's just so good.
But equally, with that in mind, if you are going away, let's say, if you are going away, you might not be able to see your slimmers, but you could say, right, okay, I am going away for a few weeks. If you need to order for the amount of products that you need whilst I'm away, so you're never really losing any money. Like you can always kind of like, work round.
I've been sat on the beach in Cornwall speaking to new slimmers, doing Zoom. I've literally been camping with the kids and my husband. I'm not really someone that I might say to my slimmers, oh, I'm not here, you need to get your products, I'm away. But I've been sat on the beach dealing with people emailing me on my, like through the one-to-one page, getting emails from people, kind of getting them set up. Oh, well, I'm back on such and such a date, I can see you then, or see you then. I've literally been working from the beach.
Yeah, amazing.
So amazing. Yeah,
that's what I wanted to talk to you. So talk to me about your swimming.
Oh gosh. So do you know what, Jo? It's in my wildest, I would never have got in a swimsuit on the beach 4 stone ago. Never. Like, I was the girl that would sit in the kind of trapeze dress on the towel and watch my kids from afar and just not really, and be kind of wishing we were not there. So to get in a swimsuit on the beach and then to get in the blooming sea, it's like, I don't know. Don't ask me. So the local school where my children are, there's a couple of mums that would go get in the sea, and I started talking to them. And then me and another school mum, it was last March, so we started the most awful, like it's meant to be the coldest time to get in the sea. We decided we would go and get in the sea. But to be honest with you, initially when I was doing it, I was only going like maybe once every fortnight, and you just and gradually, I think just with my confidence, just found something I just really enjoy it. So I go 4 times a week now and get in the sea.
Wow, that's amazing.
It's insane.
That's how I felt with running.
Yeah, you just find this thing that's yours, and I love going, and it's, you know, like it's your headspace, isn't it? And now what I do is, where we live in Torquay, there's a beach. It's quite a walk down the hill, and walk back up again. So what I now do is I incorporate it with like trying to make sure I get my steps in. I park at the top. I don't drive down. Would I have walked up? I would never have walked up that hill 4 stone ago. I would have made every excuse under the sun to not do it. Like it just wouldn't have gone into my vocabulary to do that. So now I park at the top. I walk down, have a swim, take the dog, walk back up. It's my steps. It's my time for my own brain. It's that self-care. I just would never.
And it is starting little, isn't it? You know, you don't have to think about, oh, you know, I need to go to the gym 3-4 times a week, having never been before. It's like, you know what, why don't you just go out for a walk? Start with, you know, if you've got lunch hour, just start going out for a walk and just kind of getting used to kind of like being active. Because that's the thing, it's like sometimes we kind of can overwhelm ourselves with all these great big decisions that we want to do, and then we kind of get so consumed with one of doing it. And like obviously in January there's like, you know, loads of good intentions to wanting to kind of like make changes, you know, lifestyle and jobs and weight, and oh my god, I just realized it's January and I've quit my job. I'm such a cliche, but anyway anyway, but it's like, you know, all these good intentions about, you know, wanting to do stuff. And the thing is, it's just to break it down really small, rather than thinking, oh, you know, I'm gonna, you know, do everything. So, you know, obviously a lot of people want to start working out and get healthy and get fit, and it's just like choose little bits, like start little and often. So think about, you know, well, what is, you know, what do I really want to do? Or I'd love to be able to do, you know, do couch to 5k or run a 10k. Well, then just start really often, even if you start going for a walk a couple of times a week. And like I love running, you know, and I would never ever have thought that I would have been able to go running, because I was always worried, well, I could just feel, you know, when you run, I could just literally feel like my excess weight go vroom, vroom, vroom. You know, so I could feel like, you know, how do I look like from the back? So I'd only want to run at night.
Confidence.
And it was just kind of like, and actually, I don't really care what other people think. That was the main thing. Like, people aren't, if they look at me and make a judgment, before they've even made the judgment, they've forgotten about it, and then they've moved on. So, you know, I've gone past them anyway. But it's kind of like, you know, getting so hung up and about that thing about wanting to be fit but too embarrassed to go to the gym, wanting to start running but too embarrassed to start. And it's kind of like, it's that chicken and egg situation. So if you just start really slowly, because I think that it's always the 80-20 rule, if you can kind of get it fixed in the kitchen, the exercise will start to follow. Because I think that once you've got that kind of sussed, it's easier to be more confident in trying more activities. I found that's what worked for me.
Absolutely. And I think I really like the fact that the one-to-one diet kind of, it's not something that, like, you know, there's other plans where, you know, for me, I don't enjoy the gym. I can't think of anything worse, to be honest. And so that's not even, you know, I love going out and walking my dog. I've always walked my dog. 4 stone heavier, I walk my dog. I still walk my dog. But probably do I walk him a bit quicker and a bit further now? Yes. But that's something that it's like, the kind of the getting in the sea and the walking, it's that's more about my headspace and making me, I know that in order to control my size, I need to eat and be healthy with my food. But I know that it's also that kind of, there's no expectation on the one-to-one plan that you must embark on this regime alongside this, because my brain at the time could not have fathomed doing the 2 things. Like, it's, you know, you need to focus on to have, it's too overwhelming. And I think, you know, the kind of the walking and the making sure, like, I always try and make sure, like, I do good steps, but it's, for me, that's about my, like, mental space. And then I know that I need to, you know, eat within a certain calories to not put my put weight back on. And I think it's like that gradual build up, isn't it? Like you say with the running, it's like kind of just gradually building up, because then it's something for you. And I think pre weight loss, all I thought about was my weight. Morning, noon, night. I thought about how unhappy I was, how pissed off I wasn't on a diet.
Like being in a prison, isn't it?
Yeah, how I think it's Rachel Wildflower, she described it. And I honestly, you know, when people describe things and you're like, yes, like living your life in black and white.
Yeah.
Literally, I just felt everything would come back to my weight. If I'd had a bad day at work, if I'd eat and then I'd be cross that I'd eaten, and then why couldn't I be? And everything just came back to it.
And it's exhausting. It's like it's mentally draining to think that every thought is a consequence of how you're feeling about your weight. It's just it's like being trapped.
I remember being camping with my husband and my kids and being on my hands and knees in the caravan we were in, sweeping, and feeling really angry and cross because the kids had got mud on the floor, and almost wanting to burst into tears. But it's because I just felt so unhappy. And it's exhausting. But it's that, even that didn't make me lose the weight. It was probably then another year until I then, you know, and it's because it's the cycle. And I think, you know, the kind of doing something for me, the swimming thing is, I would never have contemplated it, not in a million years. And I found I enjoy it. I really love going, and it's something I enjoy for myself. That's mine. That's not anyone else's. But
and
also,
it's free.
It's free. It doesn't cost me any money. Well, it does, because I keep buying all these accessories, like
swim bag. Have you got a dry robe?
Yeah.
Have you got a dry robe?
Yes, my second one is on the way, because I've got a short sleeve one and I can't cope because I'm too cold now. I've got a long sleeve one on the way. But yeah, I would never have dreamt of it. And it's those little things, like we say, you know, about, you know, the seatbelts on planes or the medication. It's that freedom in my brain to be able to do something like that. I was living in a kind of in this limited world, and I was living in all these limitations before, and I don't feel like I do that as much now. I still do, but not as much as I used to. So yeah.
Wow, amazing. This is just it's so nice to hear other people's journeys.
Absolutely.
And you know, and it's just really nice to connect and see everybody's comments. And
I know,
you know,
I've just been looking on here.
Just, like, so many people have joined. With Zadora, I just wish I could stick to cold water. Yeah, I know. And that's the thing. It's kind of like, you know, even if one person has left this live feeling inspired, motivated, you know, whether they have been on plan and, you know, they've, you know, decided to restart or whatever, you know, it's just all about saying that it's totally possible. You know, you know, you can make it worse. And like you said, you know, when you're in your hands and knees in that caravan, obviously that then wasn't the time that kind of, like, the final straw that broke the donkey's back. You needed to carry on. But when you get to that point of when you go, enough is enough, it's like we become the most impatient people ever, and we want the weight now.
Yeah, I get messages like, I need to get on plan today. Hang on a minute, you know. But it's that feeling of needing to just do it. And I think that's the brilliant thing. Like, I had a lady I spoke to the other day, and I said, if I get your order in, she doesn't live near me, I said, if I get your order in before 11 o'clock tomorrow, you will have your products the day after. She was like, right, let's do it. And she's on and she's doing really well. And I think you know, it's that, isn't it? It's that being able to just connect with somebody and go for it. It's such a good plan. And I kind of, you know, I've had people lose 5 stone. I've had people lose, you know, I had one girl, she was just having her second baby now, but in between babies, she just had this like fidgety stone that she wanted to lose. And it just ticks the boxes, whether you want to lose 10 pounds or 10 stone, you can. And that's what I love about it so much, you know.
It's a diet for all.
Absolutely, I know, and it's so good. I've actually got my cousin is going to start on plan, and he's, you know, just men and women, he just wants to get a stone off. He's like, I just need to get rid of this stone. I just want to, you know, feel better. And I think, like, my brother, he's like quite fit and he cycles, but he literally, every time there's a new product, I'm like, oh, try this cookies and cream bar, try that, you know, because
you've really still got cookies and cream.
I think I've got like 4 left in the cupboard. I'm saving them because I think Natalie's on here, one of my friend Natalie, and I've saved them back for her because she likes them. And banoffees, I've got a couple left because they're gone, aren't they?
Oh my God, do you know what? I must have missed the memo on that one, because I unknowingly had sold my last banoffee, and then I went to order some more and I was like, that's strange. Why isn't it on the ordering page? And then I went back onto the community on the Facebook page and I was like, Google, like search banoffee, discontinued, and I was like, oh, I've missed that one.
No, and they've stopped your dark chocolate gingers, Jo, haven't they?
Oh my God.
I thought of you when I saw them, when I saw the email. I was like, oh my God, Jo loves them.
Oh my God.
I know.
I think actually that's me. The only thing that is keeping me going with that is that they must have a plan for something else, like that, you know, because now the banoffee's gone, the dark chocolate's gone. Then there must be.
And the mocha was one of my faves. The mocha bar, loved the mocha bar, and that came and went quite quick. So yeah, I do think there's something in the pipeline, isn't there? Coming, I can feel it. They normally do like a kind of. Well, we've got like probably maybe a spring summer announcement or something.
Well, haven't we got the meeting on Saturday? Have you bought tickets for the is it 10:30 Saturday?
No, I haven't.
Check it out. Go and check your emails, because there's like a head office event that's happening on Saturday morning, and I would imagine there'll be something there.
Something chocolate anyway, so for Easter and Valentine's, something.
Exactly. You can have chocolate on plan.
And my husband was a bit like, oh, here we go again, she's on another diet. I lost 2 stone, and then he was like, oh, okay. And then he actually got on plan and he did 1.5 stone, like really quick, because he's really active, but on a higher step. But just, you know, and even now, like, he's a decorator, he works all over the country. He's got a box of lemon bars in his van, because he's like, he used to pull into the petrol station and grab a double Snickers
or a pasty,
and now he's like, I'll just have a lemon bar.
Yeah, exactly. My husband tried the peanut crisp for the first time last night. Honestly, it was just like, oh, this is amazing.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So we've done an hour. Can you believe we've done an hour?
Wow. Have you been watching Stay Close on Netflix? That's what we're binging at the minute. And I've said to my husband he wasn't allowed to put it on whilst I was in here.
No, we haven't. I'm still trying to catch up on Succession. So I've been watching Succession on Sky Atlantic.
Oh, okay. Put it on my list.
Yeah. Oh, it's a good one. It's quite slow. It's quite dry, but it's really good. I'm really enjoying that at the moment. So I think that if anybody has got any questions that they want to ask either Natalie or then
I can't see the questions on. I was going to say I can't.
No, I haven't seen
got,
that
like,
many.
Names, but I don't think I've got the feed the same as you have. I've just got names and stuff. I haven't got the feed.
No, I can just see names. I haven't got any questions at the moment. But if anybody has got any questions, and we go offline, drop us a message, and we'll respond, whether you want to be a slimmer, whether you want to consider becoming a consultant. We'd be more than happy to have a chat and share the love.
Can we this live, can we share that now, Jo, so that can go shared? Because then that's really good, isn't it, for people to kind of like go and see, like, if I speak to anyone in the week coming up.
Should automatically save. So when we stop this video, it should automatically, if you press it, gives you the option to save. It will save to your feed. So yes, definitely. And if you can't find it, then I can show you where to find it. So I'll show you that offline.
And we're meeting for a coffee in a few weeks, aren't we? As soon as we literally live so close and didn't even realise how close we live.
I know. Do you know what? When we first saw you, like in the flesh, I was doing the conga at convention.
I should have had a bit to drink by then.
I was doing the conga.
I know. I am actually trying. I spoke to Gemma, and I did say I feel like a year is such a long time for consultants to see each other, another year to convention. I said to Gemma, wouldn't it be great to have like a spa day or like a weekend, where I could like put it out to consultants and say, like, if you want to come, we're going to be at this spa at this weekend. If you can make it, great. Just to kind of have that like 6 months. I don't know. It's something I'm looking at, because I just feel like a year is a long time.
There's the Chloe and Amy ball.
Oh yes, I've not got tickets for that. Are you going? Are you? Okay. I'll look into that.
I am. Yes, I'll send you or contact Chloe and Amy to see if they've got any tickets.
Is it July?
Yeah, it's July. I want to say early part of July, but I can tell you all about that. But I'm sure they might have tickets available.
Oh, cool. Okay. That would be good, because I really do feel like November is a really long time.
I know, it is quite long. It is quite long. Right then, I think I better go and join my husband.
Lovely chat.
Oh,
Thank you so
so
much for this
nice.
evening. It's been really fun. I don't feel quite so anxious about being live anymore. Who knew?
I think this really helps. I think I would find it really, I would really struggle to. It's difficult talking to yourself, you know, for an hour or whatever.
Yeah.
When you've just got a free-flowing conversation, it takes the pressure off.
Yeah.
You know, and it's more interesting, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, well, mwah. Lots of love. Thank you so much.
Thanks everyone for watching.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.